Chapter 9 discusses various fitness and wellness questions that professionals are often asked in this industry. The objective of this chapter is to dispel common misconceptions related to physical fitness and wellness, give practical advice and tips regarding safety, address some concerns specific to women, clarify additional concepts regarding nutrition and weight control, answer some questions regarding wellness and aging, and provide guidelines related to fitness, wellness, consumer issues. When people decide they want to take a step toward living a healthier lifestyle, they want to know the one thing they need to do to become healthy. And you cannot just modify one factor. There are 3 behaviors that you could concentrate on first, which would be involving yourself in more physical activity, limiting the amount of time you spend sitting down throughout the day, and practicing and establishing proper nutrition. It's hard for us to change and make unhealthy habits healthier because as humans we tend to resist change even when we know that change will provide us with benefits. We tend to think on the negative side of things, so we think of all the things that could go wrong with change instead of all the things that could benefit us from changing our behaviors. And our values govern our behaviors. Our values are our core beliefs. These are first developed with our families, schools, media, the culture we live in, and until you have a change in your core values, your behavior will not change. It will be very difficult for you to change until you start to view things differently and change the way you think with your core values. It is very difficult to change your dietary habits. One reason is because there is an unlimited supply and unlimited amount of choices for us to consume foods. And for most people, they do not have enough willpower, which again goes back to your values, to avoid overconsumption of food. We have so many fast food restaurants. They are open all hours of the night. We have convenience stores. We have quick and easy prepackaged snacks and meals that you can just heat up in a microwave. And so it is very hard for us to control the amount of food that we are putting into our mouths, and it can turn into a never-ending cycle because our bodies were not made to go hungry. And so what happens is we will overeat, and then we will diet, and then we will go hungry again, and since we don't like to be hungry, we will overeat again, and the cycle keeps on going and going and going. And so in order to change your behavior, your dietary habits, you have to value health and your quality of life more than you value food and over consuming food. And until you reach that point to where you have a reason to not overindulge in food, you may not see a change in your habits. You have to want to change for your health, and you have to want to change because it will better your life if you do so. Aerobic activity can decrease the risk for cardiovascular disease. The exact amount is hard to pinpoint because of people's different genetics makeups and people's lifestyles are differently. But moderate fitness levels can reduce the incidence of problems. And then even greater protection is achieved at higher energy expenditures and even better fitness levels. So if you burn about 150 to 200 calories 5 to 7 days a week, you can decrease your incidence of cardiovascular problems. And then also if you're able to burn more and work out harder, you will gain even more of a benefit. And it's never too early to start concerning yourself with cardiovascular disease. The process of developing problems with your cardiovascular system begins early on. So you can never start too soon on learning to establish healthier habits. There are kids as young as 10 who have high blood lipids and suffer from atherosclerosis. So the sooner you can start establishing positive habits, the better off you'll be. Learning to avoid excessive calories by limiting how much you eat, learning to incorporate more physical activity, learning the importance of limiting your saturated and trans fats, and also your sugar and salt intake is a great place to start to help decrease your risk for cardiovascular disease. Here's a chart with risk factors, and again, some of these we are able to control, like smoking and physical inactivity, and so the areas that we can control, we want to make sure that we do things throughout our lives that keep us healthy and keep us away from possible problems with our cardiovascular system. So we know that there is cardio fitness and muscular fitness, and people want to know which one is more important. And they both are equally important because they both give our bodies different things. So cardio exercise is important in preventing cardiovascular disease and even some cancers, and muscular fitness will decrease your low back pain and also other musculoskeletal injuries, and it plays an important role in the prevention of injuries as we get older. What order should you do these exercises in? Should you do cardio first or strength training first? And ideally, you would want some recovery hours between the two types of trainings, but let's be honest, that's not realistic because a lot of us are so busy. So if you can't have recovery time in between, you want to look at what your goals are. And so there's no scientific evidence to prove one should be done before the other. So whatever your goal is determines which one you do first. Maybe you're wanting to improve your strength. You're wanting to get stronger and, get one new winner at max. So you may want to do a light warm-up and then go into your strength training first, so all of your energy is focused on strength training and you're able to perform each movement and each lift with good form, and you have all of your strength first thing. If you're wanting to lose weight or burn more calories in hopes of weight loss, then you may want to do your cardio first because your lower body is fresh. It hasn't gotten tired from strength training yet, so you will be able to work harder and maintain a higher intensity throughout your cardio workout in hopes to burn more calories. Unless you're doing aerobic activity to the point of exhaustion, you can do aerobics first, and it's a great way to warm up and prepare yourself for strength training. Just keep in mind that you may be tired for strength training, and you want to always perform lifts with proper form, so you want to keep that in mind as well. Do muscles turn into fat when the person stops training? For this concept, you need to think about apples and oranges. You can never turn an apple into an orange, so you're never going to be able to turn a muscle cell into a fat cell. They are two totally different cells, and what happens is they either increase or decrease in size based on your training. So if you stop training, your muscles aren't getting challenged every day with physical stress, so the muscle cells will start to decrease in size, which will allow fat cells to increase in size if weight is ever gained. Another popular question is, what do I need to do to get a six-pack? I want a washboard stomach. Tell me one thing I need to do. And there's no miracle exercise to specifically focus on your abs. You didn't choose where your weight was gained, and you can't choose where you lose the weight. Getting a six-pack, having a good stomach or a good midsection is a combination of aerobic training, strength training, and reducing your calorie intake, paying attention to eating healthier options. You do want to continue to do exercises that strengthen those muscles, but the calories you burn alone from just those exercises is not enough to burn the fat and calories to show your abs. Can too much exercise be detrimental to your health? your immune system is actually improved with moderate fitness training. The concern here is with elite endurance athletes who train to exhaustion and who train very intense exercise sessions every day, day after day after day, for lengthy periods of time. So unless you're doing that, just regular working out for health reasons, you will know if you're overtraining your body by being excessively sore and tired to the point where you need 2 or more days off from training. So our immune systems will stay strong and will be improved with exercise for typical health and wellness, unless, again, you're an elite endurance athlete training for prolonged periods of time. Another question that people often have is exercising if you have a cold or a flu. So when you're sick or you're not feeling well, you want to look at your symptoms and the severity of those symptoms before you decide if you need to exercise or not. So if you just have a runny nose, you're sneezing, you may have a scratchy throat, it's still okay to exercise. It may just be at a lower intensity than when you're feeling well. And then if your symptoms are more severe, like vomiting or achy muscles or diarrhea or a hacking cough, then you may not want to participate in exercise and you want to take some time off so you're able to heal and get better. So if you do have to take a break from exercise, whether for being sick or maybe you're on vacation or just things come up and you get out of your normal routine, how fast do you lose your benefits from exercise? And this varies based on your fitness and your condition at the time when you stop exercising. So let's say a person is new to exercise. They've been doing workouts for maybe 2 to 4 weeks. If they take a 2-week break off, they're going to lose a lot of their benefits, if not all of them, if they take a break from exercise. Now, if you are a person who's been exercising for years or for months, 2 weeks off is not going to affect you as bad as it would someone who's new to exercise. Within 2 or 3 days, however, your cardiovascular system can lose its capacity. Your flexibility can be maintained just by 2 or 3 stretching sessions a week for about 10 minutes. And then your strength, just 1 max training session per week can maintain your strength. You don't have to do maximal training every day of the week for that. You do want to try to maintain your regular fitness schedule or even your program if you're traveling or you're on vacation. You may not be able to do the same types of exercises as you would be doing if you were at home, but still a little bit is better than nothing because you want to maintain your fitness level. What type of clothing should you wear when you exercise? Your clothing should fit comfortably and it should allow you to be able to perform the exercises freely. You want to select your clothing based off of air temperature, humidity, and exercise intensity. You want to make sure that you're wearing materials that will whisk moisture away from your body. And cotton is not the best option for when you're working out because it tends to absorb sweat. And once it gets absorbed, it will stay wet and hold moisture and would just be uncomfortable while you're working out. You also want to make sure you're wearing good shoes because that can affect your feet, your ankle, your knees while you run and work out. So to avoid injury, you want to make sure that your shoes are in good condition. There is some research being done on barefoot running because the people who believe that this is of benefit believe that the way that we land in running shoes causes us to have 3 times our body weight on our heels, and the way that we land and that impacts our body. It alters the way that our feet, ankles, and knees were naturally supposed to be used, and we're more prone to injuries by wearing our shoes. There's not a lot of evidence to strongly suggest that this is true, but there is talk about it out there. what time of day is best to exercise? Really, any time of day is best. You want to look at your schedule and what works for you, and you want to pick a time where you can exercise without feeling rushed or overwhelmed by trying to fit it into your schedule. So if you know that your job or certain events or your social life may require you to miss your workout if you do it in the evenings, then you may want to try to become a morning person and wake up early to get your workout in. Some people like to work out in the afternoons because it helps relieve stress. But again, it's all personal preference. So whatever you need to do that will help you stay consistent and committed to your workout schedule is the best time of day to work out. You do want to be mindful of when you eat. You don't really want to work out until 2 hours after you have a large meal. And if you're working out outside, you want to make sure that you're not working out in the hottest part of the day, which would be like early afternoon hours. Injuries. So working out, whether you're an athlete or just working out on your own, you are prone to acute injuries, and you can treat those injuries with rest, ice, compression, and elevation. And we use rice as a way to help us remember that. The best treatment is prevention. So if you're ever doing any type of exercise and you notice a pain in a joint or a muscle, or the movement is uncomfortable to you, you do want to stop, either modify the exercise, stop completely, or change the intensity of your workout. But if you do experience an injury, you want to apply ice within the first 36 to 48 hours, 3 to 5 times a day for about 15 minutes. You also want to compress the injury with elastic bandages, and you want to elevate the injury to help reduce the blood flow to the area, because the whole goal is to decrease the swelling, which will lengthen your recovery time. And obviously, if you have a dislocation or a fracture, you do want to seek medical attention instead of trying to help that injury on your own. What causes muscle soreness and stiffness? So, soreness and stiffness are common in individuals who are beginners to exercise program, or maybe they're coming back from a break, either from vacation or being sick. People who exercise above their normal intensity, or they exercise longer than what they're used to, their bodies will be exposed to new intensities and time, and so they will see soreness and stiffness. And also people who perform eccentric training. So eccentric training, that is eccentric muscle contraction, is when your muscle is under tension while it lengthens. And the best example for that would be an arm curl. When your arms are down by your side and you curl them up to your shoulder, your muscle is shortening while it's under tension. So that's a concentric movement. When you bring your arm back down during an arm curl, your muscle is lengthening while it's under tension, and that is an eccentric movement. And that type of training produces more soreness and stiffness compared to trainings that are of concentric movements. Now, when you work out like a beginner or someone who's increasing their intensity or time, you are going to have acute soreness, which is normal because of just chemical buildup that's going on in your body, and that's normal. If you're sore about 12 hours after your workout for more than 2 or 4 days, you've kind of overdone it. You're suffering from what we call DOMS, which is delayed onset muscle soreness, where you have tears in your muscle spasms, pain, tearing and stretching of connective tissue. So you do want to be mindful of not doing too much too soon, and you also want to warm up properly before you begin exercise and stretch afterwards in hopes to prevent stiffness and soreness. What causes muscle cramps and what should be done when they occur? Our muscle cramps can be caused by an imbalance of our electrolytes or a breakdown in coordination between opposing muscle groups. Even wearing tight clothing can reduce blood flow to that specific area of your body, and cramps can occur. When they do occur, you do want to make sure that you attempt to stretch that muscle group. You want to try and rub down the muscle, a gentle massage of the muscle that's cramping, and then also do some mild stretching to the muscle that has been cramping. If pregnant or lactating women experiencing cramps, they may be able to take calcium supplements to relieve their cramping. Why is exercise in hot and humid conditions unsafe? If heat produced while exercising cannot be properly removed from your body because of the weather, whether it's hot or too humid outside, your body temperature is going to increase. It's going to rise above normal. And so in extreme cases, death can even occur. So you want to make sure that you are aware of your body, the way you're feeling while you exercise. If you start to see signs of heat cramps, such as muscle spasms or muscle twitching, that's the first sign of heat stress. And if those symptoms are ignored, you can start to go through heat exhaustion, which would be dizziness, profuse sweating, headaches, fainting. And then if those symptoms are not taken care of and recognized, you can go into a heat stroke, which is severe disorientation, worn dry skin, rapid pulse, vomiting, diarrhea, unconsciousness, and these can be severe problems. So you do want to take into consideration the temperature outside and just be mindful of your body and how you feel. You do want to also replace fluids during prolonged exercises outside. You want to drink about 6 to 8 ounces of water every 15 or 20 minutes. And if you are exercising longer than an hour, you want to make sure that you're hydrating with a carbohydrate drink, like a Gatorade or a Powerade, because these drinks contain carbohydrates that can give your body more energy while you're participating in a lengthy exercise session. Now, when you consume these drinks that are about 6 to 8% glucose, the sugar is not released into your body for 30 minutes. So that is why anything over an hour is going to be benefit you with these drinks. If you consume a drink with glucose above 8%, the absorption is actually slowed down, and it doesn't provide a benefit, and it could possibly even make you sick. Like drinking a soft drink to rehydrate in the heat is not the best idea. Do energy drinks enhance your work capacity? There is tons of claims out there that the energy drinks are going to enhance your metabolism, provide an energy boost, improve your endurance, and these have not been proven by scientific research. Now, sugar in these energy drinks is very high, so that you could possibly see a boost in your performance if you're doing a lengthy and intense workout, but there is concern with weight gain because of the large amount of calories that are in these drinks. There are sugar-free options for energy drinks, but they still will overstimulate your nervous system, and if you consume too much caffeine, which would be greater than 400 milligrams, you're going to see the reverse effect. You're going to feel nervous, you're going to feel more anxious, you may have cardiac arrhythmias, and you may even have GI discomfort, your gastrointestinal discomfort. So you really want to take into consideration your caffeine intake, because coffee, tea, and sodas all count towards your total caffeine intake throughout the day. And consumption of energy drinks have been related to several negative effects on our body, such as a rapid heart rate, ischemia, chest pains, restlessness, nausea, dizziness, irritability. So just be mindful that there is no scientific research that these drinks enhance your work capacity. When you're exercising in the cold, you do want to take extra precaution compared to when you're exercising on a normal day. Frostbite and hypothermia are two things you need to be mindful of when you go outside. So hypothermia increases when a person is wet and they're not able to move around enough to increase their body heat. So in order to lower your risk of hypothermia, you want to make sure that you're not overdressing for your workout, because the harder you're working out and the longer you're working out, you're going to produce heat, which will increase your body, which may cause you to sweat more. So just be mindful that you dress warm and in layers, but not too much, because you are going to increase your body heat once you go outside and you begin your workout. You want to be aware of the wind chill, because the wind chill can drop the temperature by 15 degrees Fahrenheit. And a good note to keep in mind would be to have the wind to your back on your return in from your workout, and when you're starting your run, you want to go with the wind. Protecting your face, head, hands, and feet is important. You can lose up to about 50% of your body heat just from your head and your neck being exposed and not protected during the cold weather. So your hands, you could wear mittens if you need to keep your hands and your fingers closer together. It could keep your hands warmer. And you also want to wear layers of lightweight clothing, and keep in mind to choose materials that are going to whisk the moisture away from your body. So anything like wool or synthetic materials will help do that. What physiological differences exist between men and women? There are several basic differences between men and women. They tend to be taller and tend to be heavier than us women. They tend to be more muscular. Their average body fat tends to be less than ours. They tend to have a 15 to 30 percent higher VO2 max as compared to us. They have higher levels of hemoglobin to carry oxygen, and they have larger hearts to deliver more oxygen. They have more muscle mass, like I said, and then they also have wider shoulders and longer extremities. With these differences, we do respond to training similarly. However, women's size and body composition just make us not as strong as men. But the response to exercise is the same. Does participation in exercise hinder menstruation? Highly trained athletes can develop irregular menstruation cycles, or start to establish abnormal functions of their menstruation cycles. We're not sure if this is a combination of the physical stress or emotional stress or the high intensity trainings of their workouts, possibly even their very low percentage of body fat. But we do know that as your training intensity increases and a calorie restriction has taken place in hopes maybe to help their performance, your hormones that affect your menstruation cycle is affected negatively. There's a combination of disordered eating, amenorrhea, bone and mineral disorders known as the female athlete triad. However, you don't have to be an athlete to experience these three negative effects on the body to suffer from this. You can just be someone who works out regularly, or you just be someone who has an eating disorder. You don't have to have all three parts. One, two, or all three will make up the female athlete triad. This is reversible. So if you are someone that is suffering from this, you can reverse the outcome by increasing the amount of calories you consume, by gaining weight if you need to. You could even lower your intensity and frequency of training, and then if need be, you could take calcium and estrogen replacements. Here's a chart that shows the three main areas of the female athlete triad, and that it focuses primarily on women, and that stress factors, low body weight, depression, fatigue, all of these things are a result of these three components. Does exercise help relieve a painful menstruation? And it hasn't been shown to cure painful menstruation or to aggravate it. It will, though, help with muscle cramps. And exercise during pregnancy is highly recommended. Exercising for about 30 minutes of moderate intensity most days, if not all days of the week, is really encouraged, so women continue to receive the benefits from a regular fitness program. You do want to check with your doctor before you start physical activity or before you continue your current exercise program, just to make sure there's no contraindications, such as unusual pain or discomfort in your chest or abdominals, or cramping in your pelvic or low back pain. So once you get the all go-to from your doctor, you want to participate in exercise to strengthen your body and to prepare it for labor, which could last anywhere on average from 10 to 12 hours. Also, being physically active during your pregnancy could possibly speed up your recovery time, keep you from gaining excessive weight, and again, help you with your low back pain. Can osteoporosis be prevented? This is just a condition where you lose your bone density, or softening or deterioration of the bone, and they become weak and brittle. And it's usually with your hip, wrist, or spine. And osteoporosis can be prevented. It has a strong genetic component to osteoporosis. However, your hormone levels before menopause, your calcium intake, and your physical activity throughout life can all play a crucial part in preventing osteoporosis. Now, osteoporosis is mostly in women. However, men can experience this issue also. More than 30% will be affected by the age of 75 for men. Some other things that you can do to prevent your osteoporosis would be to have weight-bearing exercises when you were younger. Your bone density is being created and formed while we are children, early in our life. So if you are participating in weight-bearing activities when you were younger and you were having adequate calcium intake, you already got a good start on your bone density, and you just want to continue those physical activity training sessions with strength training to keep your bones stronger as you do age. Osteoporosis affects women about the third or fourth decade as estrogen levels begin to drop, which speeds up the rate at which bone starts to break down. So the longer you can be physically active, the better. You want to maintain that throughout your life. Again, here are some issues that diminish your bone health. Same thing here. There are several issues here that we have control of, such as smoking, heavy drinking, physical activity, excessive use of corticosteroids. So the things that we can control, you need to be knowledgeable in those areas and try to control those. Try to not participate in those types of behaviors. Here's a chart that shows our recommended calcium intake levels. For ages 19 to 50, that's about 1,000. If you're 18, you have a little bit more than that. And you want to try to get this daily through as much food as you can. Obviously, food would be a good option to go to first. And if you can't receive it in food, then you want to make sure that you're getting that through calcium supplements. But be mindful of some risk factors of taking calcium supplements such as heart attack, kidney stones, and even prostate cancer in men. Do women have a special need for iron? Physically active women in particular have a greater need for iron because iron is lost in sweat, urine, and in stool. And also, just doing your regular training sessions can have mechanical trauma to your red blood cells. So, for instance, if you're running, pounding on the ground with your feet can affect the lifespan of a red blood cell. So, women need about 15 to 18 milligrams per day, and men only need about 8 to 11 milligrams per day. Again, getting these daily values from food is great. You can try things like beans or green leafy vegetables, fish, lean meats, egg yolks, enriched grains, peas. All of these sources of food contain iron that could help you reach your daily levels. What is the difference between a calorie and a kilocalorie? A calorie is a unit of measure that just indicates the energy value of food and used to express the amount of energy a person needs to burn. And technically, a kilocalorie, a kcal, is a larger calorie and is the amount of heat necessary to raise the temperature of 1 kilogram of water 1 degree Celsius. But for simplicity, we say a kilocalorie is a calorie. So walking 1 mile burns 100 calories or 100 kilocalories. What constitutes an ideal body weight? There is no such thing as an ideal body weight. Recommended or healthy body weight are the terms that we choose to prefer. There are BMI standards and there are percent body weight recommendations for people. But for instance, if a 40-year-old has a 25% body fat, and that's the recommended percent for their age, they are considered healthy. However, if someone the same age has 25% body fat, that may not be ideal for them if they are suffering from several disease risk factors. So if they're pre-diabetic, if they have abnormal cholesterol and triglyceride levels. So a standard for everybody is not necessary. It's all based on your body's different than someone else's, your lifestyle's different, your risk factors are different, your family history is different. So finding out what is healthy for you is better than saying that there is an ideal body weight for everybody who's a certain age. The next question is, what is more important for weight loss, a negative caloric balance or an increase in physical activity? Weight loss is more effective when you are dieting as opposed to only increasing your physical activity. However, a combination of both is very, very, very beneficial. Your weight loss could increase even more if you pair it with physical activity. However, you do want to keep in mind that just because you exercise does not mean that you deserve or you earned to eat an extra snack or an extra meal that day just because you went and worked out. You can't out-exercise a bad diet. So this is one reason why people think that exercise and dieting doesn't work, because they tend to work out, but they aren't paying attention to their calories and restricting their calories because they think they deserve an extra treat or extra calories throughout the day. Are some diet plans more effective than others? There are a lot of popular diets out there that vary on the food choices that they allow people to consume. Now, you do want to consume more than 1,500 calories a day. If you consume any less than that, you're depriving your body of vitamins and nutrients that your body needs in order to function the way that we were created to function. You want your calories to come from a variety of foods, a variety of your healthier foods. So your grains, your fruits, your vegetables, small amounts of low-fat animal products or from fish. You want to get your vitamins and minerals from a variety of foods instead of just focusing on one food. But the idea of these diets is that the less food choices you have, the less calories you consume, and the more weight you lose. And that is true. However, from a health standpoint, your body is craving food. Your body is wanting nutrients only found in those healthier options of food. Is light intensity aerobic exercise more effective in burning fat for weight loss purposes? Lighter intensity workouts do allow a greater percentage of energy to come from fat. So whether you are asleep or you're sitting down or you're doing light activity, your body is going to be burning more fat compared to if you were doing vigorous activity, because the process that it takes our body to burn fat is a very lengthy process. And when we aren't using a lot of energy, our body has enough time to focus on burning fat. However, we know that people who live more of a sedentary lifestyle do not burn a huge amount of calories. So when you're at rest, you're burning about 1.5 calories per minute compared to 8 to 10 calories per minute if you're doing vigorous exercise. And so that is why vigorous intensity workouts are more effective, because the total calorie burn is more during a vigorous workout than compared to a light workout or being completely sedentary. And also, the more intense your workout is, the more your system is revved up when you end, and so during that recovery time, your body is still able to burn calories. But this does not mean for you to start at a vigorous intensity. You need to progress and slowly make your way up to a vigorous workout. Do fasting or detox diets cleanse the body and rid it of toxins and poisons? The claims for these diets that they get rid of toxins and chemicals in your body is not based on any scientific evidence. God made our bodies to do pretty amazing things, and so our bodies can cleanse itself by our kidneys, our liver, and it does a pretty good job at that. So you don't have to stop eating in order for your body to cleanse itself. If you are concerned about your diet and your environment that you're in and what you're consuming, you want to try to make healthier choices to establish a healthier lifestyle, and you don't necessarily have to do that with a cleanse or with a fast. Our foods provide, your healthier foods, I should say, provide you with all the nutrients that you need to feel better and to become healthier. So you can enjoy your food, and you may even be a little nicer if you decide to become healthier by eating more so than just by going on a cleanse or by fasting. Organic foods. Organic foods are obviously lower in pesticides than conventional foods, which the risks that come along with pesticides is not as high for healthy adults. It is a bit of a concern for pregnant or lactating women or people with a weak immune system. But for healthy adults, the risk is not that great. So it's not that big of a concern. But organic foods, just because they're lower in pesticides, doesn't mean that they are free of bacteria, pathogens, or heavy metals. So you do want to wash your food. There's all kinds of sprays that you can use on your fruits and vegetables when you wash them to just help give them an extra clean, because they've been handled by various people. They've been picked by various people. So you do want to make sure that you wash your food before you eat it. Natural supplements have been known or have been said to boost your metabolism. And before you take any type of supplement, even if it is natural, you do want to ask a physician or a registered dietitian, because the FDA is not required to regulate all supplements. So what is in there may not be listed on the label, and what is in there that stimulates your system to boost your metabolism may not be healthy for certain individuals. So they can be harmful to people who have metabolic disorders, who have heart disease, or who have high blood pressure. So before you start taking pills, you just want to make sure that your body can handle it, and get advice from your physician or registered dietitian. Do athletes or individuals who train for long periods of time need a special diet? In general, no, they do not. They do not require any special supplement or any special type of diet. As long as they're getting their calories from a well-balanced diet from the basic food groups, and they're getting sufficient amounts of protein based on their training schedule, they should be able to perform and train and be healthy. Unless the individual is deficient in certain vitamins and minerals, there's no magic pill or food or eating plan that athletes need to be given to help see an improvement in their performance. One difference from a regular diet for an athlete would be if they're training or competing in an event that's going to be longer than 90 minutes, they'll want to increase their carbohydrate level to about 70% of carbs. That's what athletes do when they talk about carb loading. Gluten sensitivity. Gluten sensitivity is adverse effects on your body by a protein called gluten that's found in wheat, barley, and rye. Gluten is of major concern to the 1% of the population that have celiac disease, which is genetically diagnosed, and gluten causes inflammation in your system, and your body, your small intestines are damaged, and gluten, when consumed on celiac disease, can affect you by having severe complications like vomiting, abdominal pain, diarrhea, and fatigue. So people with celiac disease, they are on gluten-free diets, and that is the accepted treatment for individuals. People who test for celiac disease, the majority of people don't have it, but a lot of people will say that they switch to a healthier diet because it helps them feel healthier and they feel better. Those people may have a gluten sensitivity and may need to limit the amount of gluten they consume. But just for health reasons or hopes to lose weight, following a gluten-free diet is not necessary. There are still unhealthy gluten-free options because there are processed organic foods that are gluten-free. Just because something is gluten-free doesn't mean that it's healthy or that it's good for you. People who are gluten sensitive would benefit from gluten-free, and people who have celiac disease would benefit from gluten-free diets. Do I have to follow a diet 24/7 to derive health benefits? The answer is no. And let's just be honest, following a diet 24/7 would just consume you. You would just become over obsessive with your food. You would be so concerned with every decision you ever make, and that's not by no means a way to live life. The way that you eat, the way that you decide what you eat should be eating patterns that you can maintain for your lifetime. And that means including small occasional treats, because I don't know about you, but I could not say no to sweets, to candy, to sugar, to cookies, to cake. I mean, I just couldn't say no to that for the rest of my life. If I did, it would just cause me to want it more. So you want to live and eat in a way that you can for the rest of your life. It's impossible to avoid sweets. It's impossible to avoid those unhealthy foods, but you just want to do everything in moderation, portion control, and be mindful of what you're eating. Be mindful of how many times you ate an occasional treat this week. Be mindful of how many nutritious, healthier options you ate this week. And don't get discouraged if you slip up and have an occasional treat every once in a while. Should you be concerned about antibiotics in meat? You want to make sure that the meat you're choosing is from companies that use antibiotics for therapeutic purposes only. A lot of mass productions of meat are injected with antibiotics and hormones, and that's a concern for us due to antibiotic resistance, how our bodies handle that once we consume meats that have that antibiotic and hormones. Just make sure that there's no added hormones or antibiotics to your food. You should be minimizing the amount of meat you consume anyways for health reasons, because your animal products can have a negative effect on your cholesterol and your blood lipids. So when you do eat meat, make sure you keep this in mind, but also remember to minimize the amount of times you consume it throughout the week. Should you worry about the sugar in your diet? The consumption of sugary drinks can increase your risk for coronary heart disease by 35% and increase your risk for diabetes by about 80%. Having a high intake of sugar through beverages or even through food can cause you to be deficient in certain nutrients, could cause you to be overweight, could cause you to eat extra calories that you don't need, and cause weight gain. So for good health, you want to hydrate with water, so you're not eating empty calories. You're not consuming calories from the sugary drinks with no nutrition benefit. And 100 to 150 teaspoons for men and women respectively is the amount of sugar you need a day. And just a little side note, 1 can of soda a day will cause a weight gain of 16.5 pounds per year, and 8 ounces of daily consumption of soda can cause additional aging by 1.9 years. Are there specific nutrient requirements for optimal development and recovery following exercise? Carbohydrate and protein together are best. You want to consume them in a 4-to-1 ratio. So if you have 40 grams of carbs, you want 10 grams of protein. And you need both of these after a workout because they're both going to replenish your glycogen, which is like your glucose stored in your body. And then your protein is needed because it's going to help the healing process, the development, and the strengthening of your muscle fibers because you just damaged them from your workout. Before you work out, you want to make sure you have some level of carbohydrates so your body can pull on your carbohydrate stores to fuel your exercise. Good post-exercise meals would be like a PB&J or milk and cereal. Glycemic index versus glycemic load. Your glycemic index is a numeric value that measures your blood glucose levels after you ingest a food that has carbohydrates in it. So a food is going to have a high glycemic index if the carbs are absorbed in your system quickly and they cause a rise in your blood glucose. Low glycemic foods are foods that have carbohydrates that slowly break down and that are slowly released in your bloodstream. So the effect on the blood glucose is not as severe as with a high glycemic index food. What is the difference between antioxidants and phytonutrients? Antioxidants are found in both plant and animal foods. comprising of vitamins and minerals and even phytonutrients, and they help prevent damage to our cells from free radicals in our bodies. Phytonutrients differ from antioxidants by only being found in plant foods, which is why it's important to consume our fruits and vegetables regularly, because it's the only way we're going to get a powerful anti-cancer property into our body is by eating these phytonutrients. And in almost every stage of cancer, these phytonutrients can block, disrupt, slow, or reverse the process of the cancer. Your chronological age versus your physiological age. Your chronological age is the actual age that you are, and your physiological age is used in reference to your functional capacity to perform physical work at any stage of life. So your chronological age is the age that you actually are, based on like your birthday, okay? And then your physiological age is the age that like your body feels that it is, or the age that your body thinks it is. So like for instance, someone who's sedentary, they are about 25 years older than their actual age. And someone who is, let's say, 60 years old and is very active, their chronological age is 60. However, their physiological age is 35. So they are the exception to aging. They have maintained a healthy lifestyle and an exercise program. So even though they're 60, their body feels like they're 35. And the same can be for someone who's sedentary. So a 21-year-old who is sedentary can have a physiological age of a 45-year-old active adult. So you want to maintain exercise and physical activity throughout your life, so as you do get older, you don't experience such a decline in your daily activities and in your functional capacity. What is the relationship between aging and physical work capacity? So a healthy lifestyle allows people to live a vibrant life. They're physically active. Their mental and emotional awareness is good. They are socially active. They can live an independent lifestyle even up to the age of 95. And that's because as we age, we want the focus and the goal of our exercise to be to increase our functional fitness, which is just our ability to carry out day-to-day activities. So we're able to take care of ourselves, live a better life. We're able to keep our memory, make great decisions, and also have a good mind to judge certain decisions and situations. Also, if you're active as you're aging, it's going to help decrease your risk for obesity, anxiety, depression, dementia, and Alzheimer's. As you can see from this chart, the green line is a lifetime of living a healthy lifestyle. They are able to feel healthy and to live a full life for the most of the time they're here on Earth. If you look at the orange line, those are people who decided to implement healthy lifestyle habits later on in life. They were able to age a little better, and then the blue line looks at people who have lived a completely sedentary and unhealthy lifestyle. They can't live as long, and then also while they're living, they may suffer more complications, more hospital stays, things like that. Do older adults respond to physical training? Yes, they will. It just depends on their fitness level before they start and the types of trainings that they do, but their cardio, endurance, their strength and flexibility can all be improved, just like younger people can benefit from exercise as well. So if a frail adult starts a strength program, they can double or triple their strength to improve their balance, their speed, the way they walk, their functional dependence, their depression, their energy intake. They can improve their flexibility, so they're able to carry out more day-to-day activities. And so it is great to carry on exercise as we age, because it will help our muscle mass from decreasing, and it will help them just to be able to live more comfortably. So, the fitness and wellness industry over the past 3 decades has really grown. And with that just comes opportunities for people to want to sell you the best product, the best pill, the best book, the best diet, the best supplements that are going to give you a quick fix, because we all want to be healthy like overnight. We all want it instantly. And so that comes with fraud. That comes with people telling you one thing, and then you buy the product and you don't get the results they promised. So you want to be mindful of that. You want to do your research. There's several websites you can go to in the book that will help you learn more about the products that you're wanting to buy, to see if people's had success on them, to see how people have experienced those products, because there's no everybody can put stuff on the internet. Everybody can put their opinions. Everybody can put their knowledge, and nothing has to be scientifically based. So be careful about what you read and what products you buy. What guidelines should you look for a reputable health or fitness facility? You want to make sure that the facility complies with the ACSM standards, which is on the next slide. You also want to compare cost, equipment, and programs of different options in your community. Is the facility clean? How much does it cost? Where is the location? Do they have equipment that I will be able to use to reach my fitness goals? Are there programs there that will benefit me in my goal and in my journey to become healthier? What is available? Do they have basketball courts, tennis courts? You want to ask these questions, and look at the gym and go and maybe work out there before you even join, to see if it's a place that you feel comfortable to work out. Okay, when you're looking for a personal trainer, you want to make sure that you check their education. See if they have a degree in the area. See if they have any certifications. And then you also could possibly interview the trainer. This is your money, this is your time, this is your fitness journey, these are your goals. Don't be afraid to ask questions, and to determine if this personal trainer is right for you before you agree to join their gym. Ask for their resume. Find out if you want to be trained by a male or a female. Find out what kind of personality you want your personal trainer to have. Don't be afraid to ask questions. What factors should I consider before purchasing exercise equipment? The main thing you need to ask yourself is, do you really need this equipment? Is having this equipment at home going to benefit you in reaching your goals, or sticking to your workout program? You want to resist buying on impulse. A lot of times we see stuff on TV where these people had miraculous results. And so think about if you like that type of exercise, and is it necessary that you have it in your home before you just up and buy something. Try the equipment out first before you purchase it. See if you enjoy that type of activity. See if if the machines are sturdy or strong before you decide to purchase the equipment. Also, you want to consider the quality of the machine that you're buying. If it's used, is it worn out? Is there damages to it? If it's brand new, you also want to see if it's cheap, because it could wear out fast and cause you just to have to purchase another one. You also want to weigh the benefits of excessive gadgets just laying around your house against the cost. You know, if one tears up, how much is it going to be to repair it? All of these things are needed before you just spend money on exercise equipment. Okay, the greatest benefit of a lifetime wellness lifestyle is just having a higher quality of life, like we've mentioned before. Having the freedom to live life to its fullest without any limitations on your health or your functional capacity. God has given us one body to have while we're here on earth, and so it is up to us to keep it healthy. What we put in our body, what we do with our body, we all have control of that. This course has taught you the healthier options, whether that's food or exercise or anything like that. You have learned what is good to do for your body in this course, and so knowing that, you are more knowledgeable, and so taking that into consideration to help you have a higher quality of life is very, very, very important. You may have goals and other reasons to work out, but in reality it all comes down to having a good health while you're here on earth, while you're living your life. And the real challenge is committing a lifestyle of fitness and wellness, to continue your exercise programs, to continue your healthy eating. Just keep in mind that the greatest benefit is a higher quality of life. And keep your program based on your goals and your needs and what you enjoy, not what your friends are doing, not what your spouse is doing, not what your neighbor is doing. Okay, it's what you need to do, because if it's focused on you, you are going to be more likely to be committed and stay consistent with your exercise programs.